To me, there's nothing more interesting in storytelling than when a character undergoes a major personality shift. And one of the most important and powerful changes a character can have is known as a positive change arc. This positive change a character undergoes, if used correctly, can elicit very strong emotions and reactions from its audience. One show in particular on TV right now that pretty much acts as a crash course in the fundamentals of character writing is My Hero Academia. Seriously, it's amazing. And it has one of the most real and engaging characters in anime right now, through Katsuki Bakugo. Obsessed with winning to a psychotic degree, incredibly talented and downright cruel at times, I'm totally not Mark, and this is how to write a positive character arc. In order to write a successful positive change arc and get that Vegeta sacrifice moment we all love, your character needs to begin his story believing a lie to be true. And over the course of their story, your character will be faced with circumstances that prove their outlook to be wrong. There will be struggle, there will be pushback by them, but eventually there will be a tremendous moment of catharsis. So how did Katsuki Bakugo develop? Well, at a young age he gained his powerful quirk, simply dubbed Explosion. This quirk is a combination of his parents' abilities. His mother Mitsuki has the quirk Glycerin, which simply makes her skin produce a glycerin-like substance, while his father Mazaru has the quirk Acid Sweat, which allows him to secrete acidic sweat that can combust if friction is applied. These two quirks together gave Bakugo the powerhouse emitter-type quirk he now has. And with this explosive new quirk, Bakugo garnered an immense amount of praise at a rather young age. This praise only helped to sow the seeds of and develop his superiority complex. As the years went on, this complex he had would only grow, his quirk being used as an intimidation technique against Midoriya, his quirkless friend? And I say friend in inverted commas because they sort of have a history where Midoriya tried to help Bakugo. Now this particular instance is much more nuanced than one might think. The fact that it was Midoriya offering the help wasn't necessarily the issue. The issue was in how Bakugo might have been perceived as anything other than perfectly fine. Bakugo in his mind is a winner after all, and to Bakugo, only weaklings need help. Weaklings are not winners. This is why once Midoriya announces that he is attempting the UA entrance exam, an entrance exam for the best superhero school in the country, Bakugo is extremely angry. He wanted to be the only one from the class to have the guts to do it. Despite this, however, Bakugo would later go on to rank number 1 in his UA entrance exam, getting into the class 1A with Hero Eraserhead as the teacher. However, it's here Bakugo is faced with his lie and the reality of the real world. In the quirk apprehension test, where each student's quirk is put to the test through multiple assessments of their physical kind, Bakugo would go on to rank 3rd, being outplaced by Yaoyorozu and Todoroki, two extremely talented students with powerful quirks in their own right. When it comes to academics, Bakugo is also highly skilled, however he continued to place 3rd for the midterm exam, outplaced once again by Yaoyorozu, and for the first time Ide, with Todoroki coming in 5th this time around. Bakugo, despite consistently placing towards the top of the class, is undergoing a personal crisis, a crisis that he rationalizes as being something to fix. You either come first or you lose in his mind, and for the first time, he's a loser. And this is where Bakugo is similar to Vegeta in a lot of ways. He isn't someone who concerns themselves with wanting to be better and for others to know it. Bakugo's only concern is to prove himself to himself. Bakugo won't accept a win unless it's wholehearted. There's no half-assing it with this kid. You either fight him 100% or you get out of the damn way because you're wasting his time. A win that isn't earned isn't real, and Bakugo, despite having this warped outlook on what it takes to become a hero, is correct in a lot of ways at times. And that's admirable. This need to win, this superiority complex also stems from his admiration of the number 1 hero, All Might. While someone like Midoriya, who also admires All Might, believes that a hero is someone who helps everyone no matter the cost, Bakugo believes that a hero should be powerful, that they should have a strong will and never give up even in the face of defeat. A powerful hero doesn't need help to win, they just win. They're strong enough to do it on their own, and so therefore Bakugo, to himself, is strong enough to do it on his own. Or so he likes to believe. Bakugo's seen his fair share of beatings and losses. The sludge villain, the cavalry battle, his battle against All Might alongside Deku, and even his capture by the League of Villains. But none shook him more to the core than his loss against Deku in the battle trial. His first and only real loss in the series thus far. Up until this point, Midoriya has shown no true fighting prowess. Yes, he has shown that he can think on his feet, but nothing to the extent of being able to win a fight. So for Bakugo to win should have been easy, but it wasn't. Midoriya used Bakugo's anger against him, baiting him to fight and give Midoriya and Ochako an opening to win the trial. There's a direct parallel here with the moment Midoriya tried to help Bakugo out of the river, in his mind at least. To Bakugo, this is Midoriya, on a much larger scale, exposing him as a weakling. Only this time, he has no excuse. This moment, this loss, it's a turning point for Bakugo, and what seems to be a point of no return for the relationship between the two young heroes in training. This was the battle that wounded Bakugo's pride and made him declare that he would never lose again. This is the moment Bakugo's lie that he holds to be true came face to face with reality, and he refused to accept it. In this moment of wounded pride, where we first see the cracks in the facade of Bakugo, he admits that he could never defeat Todoroki in a fight at his current level, that he must keep working, that he will become the #1 hero, thus further sowing the seeds of his rivalry with Midoriya. This rivalry would continue to grow, and Bakugo's anger would continue to fester, from simple moments like Midoriya cheering during the sports festival to him using Bakugo's style of movement. The actions of Midoriya would continue to irk him more and more, and at this point, Bakugo had doubled down on his lie that he kept telling himself. He has refused to rethink his outlook, and as a result is doomed to even greater failure further down the line after the provisional license exam. But we'll touch on that in a second. First, we need to discuss the final exams, the moment where Bakugo was forced to face his hero, All Might, alongside the person he seems to detest the most, Midoriya. Together, the two rivals would come together to face All Might head-on or escape for the exit, neither of which proving to be very viable options. This fight would be another moment where we see the differences in Bakugo and Midoriya's sense of what makes a hero a hero. While Midoriya is scared and sees All Might as a god due to his power, Bakugo sees him as an opportunity to prove to himself that he is good enough, that he doesn't need help, and that he is strong. One believes they need to run, the other believes they need to fight. That is, until Bakugo puts aside his pride for one last ditch effort. This was one of the most important moments in Bakugo's life. He compromised, albeit apprehensively, to work with Midoriya in this effort to pass the exam. Using his fighting genius and Midoriya's tactical expertise, the two managed a plan that inevitably allowed them to pass their exam. But not before Bakugo got a chance to show what he's made of. He realizes that in situations like fighting All Might, risks need to be made and pride needs to be checked at the door. And once done, he pushes his body to its absolute zenith. He tells Midoriya to run, essentially sacrificing himself so the two can pass the exam. As I said, this moment is incredibly important for Bakugo's character. Once executed, he is brought to tears, drained of power, beaten, resorting to biting All Might in a humbled attempt of resistance. Bakugo will give anything to win, even his pride, it seems. Bakugo's pride is something we've mentioned many times throughout this video. It's really what his driving factor is at its core. His refusal to admit defeat, his denial of being beneath anyone. Even when All Might shows concern for him, he shakes it off and says he's fine. Bakugo's pride is what made him tell Midoriya to stay away when he was kidnapped by the League of Villains. He didn't want his weakling peer to try to save him once more, further proving his own outlook wrong. And so here we are, once again talking about how Bakugo always seems to find himself at odds with Midoriya in one way or another. Bakugo really is the foil for the hero of this story. He always seems to play second fiddle to Midoriya, and that will never be something he will ever be content with. Bakugo's ideals will always contradict Midoriya's in some way. He's quick to anger, never to fall to his insecurities, and this moment is the biggest development for Bakugo in this series. One dynamic, changing battle against Midoriya. Their fight after Midoriya passes the provisional license exam and Bakugo's failure to do the same. The hot-headed powerhouse versus the overthinking chosen one. This battle is Bakugo's anger laid to bear. He admits his guilt in thinking he's the reason All Might lost his power, and that it was because of his weakness in failing to save himself that caused all of this to happen. He questions why Midoriya was chosen and not someone like him. He finds anger in the fact that Midoriya has progressed so much despite always being the follower in the past. He believes Midoriya is looking down on him, when in the end, in reality, Midoriya just wants to be as powerful as he is. It is here, in this fight, this culmination of anger and guilt, that Bakugo realizes and admits to himself that Midoriya has finally surpassed him. Bakugo tells Midoriya that he will surpass the one chosen by All Might himself, their childhood hero. Katsuki Bakugo is an angry character who serves as the foil and the rival to our main character, Izuku Midoriya. In the way they fight, in the way they live, in the way they treat people, and in the way they hope to be heroes. It's power versus heart. The climactic battle between the two of them only cements this. And as director Joss Whedon once said, recognizing power in another does not diminish your own. That was the biggest lesson Bakugo had to learn to realize that he could be more than he ever thought he could be, as well as heeding the words of All Might when he says that you can win by saving people, not just through sheer strength. These are significant changes and emotional ones to see unfold in the character. This series and even this character are incredibly well written, I think. Moments feel earned, very few things feel forced, and as a result, these characters come to life. We despise Bakugo at the beginning, but throughout the series, layers to his character are revealed, and we realize that he is just a kid that has extremely high aspirations for himself and is willing to do what it takes to achieve them, which is admirable if not respectable. And watching him as he stumbles and falls in becoming a better human being is in essence the magic of great storytelling. It's change, it's conflict, believable human change that we can all relate to in one form or another. Now, Bakugo isn't finished growing or changing by any means, and something tells me we are in for a treat one of these days coming, and I personally cannot wait. But that'll do it for this week. I've been Totally Not Mark, and thank you so much for watching.